Hey, beautiful souls. Welcome. Namaste. Lovely to be back for my Friday chat. Welcome. Today is a revisiting of a tarot tag from last year, and I was looking at the date. The date was June 17th. Oh, actually, I believe it was 2 years ago. June 17th, 2021 was when I did the first version of this video, Irreplaceable Decks. And today it is my pleasure to share with you a bunch of decks, both Oracle and Tarot, that have a very special place in my heart that I would never ever get rid of. And I want to thank Donna, who has been an invaluable mod on my channel. And Donna has, she suggested the revision of this tag as well as another that I may do in the not too distant future. So here we are, and happy Friday, everybody. I hope that you can find a moment to luxuriate in the energy of this day of Venus, this day of the goddess, and take good care of yourselves as you transition into the weekend and really honor the continuing, the waning moon energy in Taurus is really, it's a beautiful place to be. So I hope you do have a lovely evening and days ahead. Okay, so I did share with you the tarot version of this deck in my first video. And this is the transparent. I don't have the light. I think we'll just let the light adjust itself. This is the transparent oracle. And I have been working with both the transparent tarot and the transparent oracle. And these have proven to be very special decks. There is something about these decks that you can do with no other because, of course, they are transparent, and the intention of these decks is, I think, primarily its forte is in a 3-card reading. And the process of doing a 3-card reading can take on many stages. And hello, Tarot Geek, welcome back to membership on the channel. Thank you so much for joining. The beauty of the layers of reading with this deck are that we can read the cards individually, get a feeling for the cards individually, and then begin to work with them by stacking the cards. And the tarot deck and the oracle deck both come with a white cloth. I have purchased this light board, and if I turn the light on, it's going to do something funky on the screen, so I won't do that. But this has really been kind of amazing. This has been a deck that connects very much with my shamanic training, the work that I have done. I want to thank Emily for adding a whole other layer of the practice of opening the directions. When I did my Reiki training in just 3 weeks ago, when I have sacred ceremony, I always open the directions, and I have a practice where I usually start at the south and then turn to the west, and then the north, and then the east, and then we bring in the energy of above and then below. But because of my work with this particular deck, I have added a new direction, which is within. And this is proven to be a very beautiful layering of working with the directions. And I want to thank Emily for this. And I don't think there is another deck that offers this kind of these layers and the magic that can happen here. Now, the other thing too, which is really unique to this deck and makes it an irreplaceable deck, is that you can scry with this deck. So you can take a whole stack of cards or you can shuffle the entire deck and scry into the deck like a crystal ball. So it's really, really fantastic. And I really look forward to continuing to explore and work with both the transparent tarot, which I showed you last time, as well as the transparent oracle. Jonathan Daly and I did a video about the oracle deck, and so you can find that on both of our channels. Just let me pause and say hi to everybody that's coming in. So welcome to Laura and Gerald. Hello. Audrey, lovely to have you here. Donna, you say, always fun and interesting to peek into Sadhana's tarot closet. Yes, and lots of oracles on the table as well today too. Tarot Geek, it's lovely to have you back. Thank you so much. All right, who else is here? D is strolling in. Welcome to D. Yes, please do not drop your phone into your dinner. Saskia, hello. I miss our meetings, Saskia and Audrey. Yeah. Okay, where are we at? If I have missed saying hello, it's not intentional. Why don't we just carry on with the theme of these beautiful and amazing oracle decks that I have on the table. Sometimes I just really love to sit and look at cards. Honestly, there is so much beauty in cards, and a few of the decks that I'm going to share with you today they're just like that. And whether I pull them as for an oracular message or I'm just sitting with the artwork, I think this deck falls into that category as well too. And this is a deck for wonder walking. And I do have a video on this. I did help to promo the new journal that came out for this deck. The keywords on these cards are really unique, extraordinary. Some of these cards, are they all horizontal? No, they're not all horizontal. Yes, they are. They're all horizontal. Sorry, I'm getting this deck mixed up with another one. One I have done, I have used this deck actually for wonder walking. There's a few decks that I do take with me into the forest, and sometimes I feel I need a deck like this to help. I don't know what it is. It's like I put a card like this into my pocket, and it brings a connection to the Fae, or there's an elemental that is often in the forest when I'm strolling along, and not so much in the summer as it's getting warmer. Usually I notice it in the colder months. It's got a masculine energy, about, I want to say 2.5 feet tall, kind of heavy, stocky set. And what I love about this particular deck, especially if I take a journal with me and a blanket and I go and I sit down, I feel like this deck has a connection to spirit, to the elementals, to elemental life, and the keywords are really beautiful and unique. There's lots of, I don't know, it kind of takes my breath away. This is the dawn card. And the keywords are very unintrusive. Can kind of get lost in the paintings. I love this turtle card, wonder. Yes, I would love to make another course, Audrey. Hello, Patrice, welcome. So this is a deck for wonder walking, and there is a hardcover journal as well too that is available from the creator, who is Amy Wan. I've never seen anything quite like this, or had a I don't know. There's a very, very special energy to this deck. Yeah, a deck for wonder walking. Okay, it's a very high quality production. The next deck is one that was created by somebody who lives very close to where I do, who is perhaps the reason why I do this channel. And if it wasn't for her little push, there may be no Sadhana on YouTube. And I am so grateful to her for this. Her name is Elizabeth McLeod. And many years ago, she created a deck called Wild Woman Mystery Cards. This deck is no longer available. And it's one that I've always found extremely enchanting. And Elizabeth is also a gifted writer, and I love the words that she has in this book. Actually, I'm going to leave this out. I think this is a wonderful, wonderful deck for the beginning of summer, and perhaps I'll draw a card and read an entire message for you from this deck. This is called The Wild Woman Mystery Cards by Elizabeth McLeod. I met Elizabeth down at the ferry terminal the first time, and she had a booth where she was selling essential oil synergies that she had created, chakra essential oil synergies, as well as as prints from this particular deck. And I was enchanted. I truly was enchanted. And she's such a beautiful soul. She does have a YouTube channel. I don't know how active it is anymore, but you can connect with her through her YouTube channel. Welcome, Clevis. And so I don't know, I've never seen anything quite approached this way. I love the language in the guidebook. I find it very inspirational. It has lots of space for interpretation. 3 degrees of love divination. Hello to you. Welcome. Oh, that moon card is just so beautiful. I'll show you a few more cards, and then I'll shuffle them, and I will read you one. And I think this is a perfect deck to draw a card for today. Today being the day of the goddess. Okay. So thank you to Liz for this creation. All right, so what is our message on this Friday, May 12th? We've got a jumper card, so we'll go with that. And, oh, we've already seen it. There we go. Sacredness. That's beautiful. All right. I'm going to go to the guidebook. Let's all take a deep breath in and out. Wild woman. Sacredness. Some of the descriptions are more than one page long. This one's kind of brief. This card asks you to live as if the sacredness in all life matters, to remember the conscious presence and sacred passion in all things, including yourself. See spirit in every action and living thing. Brush your teeth with the essence of spirit. See the sacredness in each and every tooth. In every swish of the brush, feel the living consciousness, and with each gargle of vital, life-giving water, notice how your mouth feels. Live as if the life in all life matters. Everything has a reason for being here. The flowers grow, the baby is born, the sparrow sings. All things, big or small, contain life force. Let spirit be the voice of your soul in life, and feel spirit in every action. Notice how your life grows and your heart fills up. Let spirit embrace your every thought and every word. Live as if the sacredness in all life matters. Wonderful message. Look at this one. That's not beautiful. Soul call. Forgiveness. Kind of, I don't know. I've always liked this deck, and I'm so glad. I actually do have an extra copy of it as well, too. Picked that up just as I knew they were coming to the end of their run. Okay. I'm going to carry on in the same sort of theme. Actually, no. I want to include the Wee Moon Tarot in this video as an irreplaceable deck. I suppose the only way it would be replaceable is if you were to take the last, I don't know, 20 years of Wee Moon journals and cut up the artwork and make your own deck. But there's something really powerful in this deck in that it captures very potent artwork from women all over the world, speaking to sometimes poignant messages, important reminders of our relationship with the earth, about the sacredness of the divine feminine in all its forms. This deck also is an opportunity to connect with the spirituality of women from many cultures and many disciplines. It's an extraordinary collection of art and messages, and while the deck itself as a tarot deck may not be perfect, as a collection of art, and I think perhaps the power of this deck is using it as an oracle. Of course, you can use it as a tarot deck, and I've shared this many times on my channel since it's come into my hands. I don't think there's anything quite like this. It also there's so much educational value, I feel, to this deck, in that if you're not familiar with other traditions, there's a lot that we can learn through this deck, and perhaps a reminder to return to our spiritual studies. Yeah, it's quite an extraordinary deck. And when this deck comes out in its reprint with the new guidebook, the new version of the guidebook, I think this is a deck that I will buy multiple copies of and gift. And I will gift it to people because it's It's too special. Too special not to share. Yeah. And this deck has both vertical and horizontal cards. And if you want to see every single card, I started filming deck in a minute videos, and I stopped doing it because they weren't getting many views. But if I may do it just for my own record, so that I have a video for every single deck in my collection. But if you want to see every single card, I did it there. Yeah. And you know, it's so beautiful because there's familiar artists in this deck. You probably recognize that from soul cards. There's a couple of cards from Autumn Sky. And then there's artists that I don't, this is Autumn Sky's artwork. Yeah. So that is the Wee Moon Tarot. Hey Janine, welcome to you. Okay. Honoring. This is a video about that's good to know. That's good to know. And also, the videos are not getting picked up as shorts, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's because of the music or what it is, but they're not getting picked up as shorts, which was part of my intention. Anyway, I may carry on. I have many a unique deck in my collection, and I'm presently doing a deep dive into the Fullarcos Tarot. And the Fullarcos Tarot, the deeper I wander down into the rabbit hole of this deck, the more that I understand its irreplaceable qualities. The Fullarcos Tarot is a channeled deck by Carmen Sorrenti. And if you're not catching the name and you don't know this deck, it's the Fullarcos Tarot. There have been so many aha moments that have arisen in the deep dive series. And we've had some pretty beautiful conversations. And Wednesday I was talking about the kings and the interpretation of the kings, or what I was reading into Carmen's words, was so beautiful. And it gave me a whole new way to look at the energy of the kings. And I feel really, really grateful for this sort of mysterious approach into tarot. The knights in this deck are called trails. And they are the guides into our dreams and into the dream world, into another dimension, another space where we can heal and learn and ask questions and understand and connect. And I just love the way that this deck is put together. The minor arcana looks like bits and pieces of dreams, and the way that it flows, the way that Carmen has built in symbols throughout the minors is now, after doing the deep dive, making more and more sense. The pages are called Dreamers. And you know that the gift of this deck is that it's really awakened my wanting to use the dream world more and be more intentional about connecting to my dreams. This is the Hanged One. This is a deck that brings in the energy of alchemy as well. And the astrological references, the stories that are woven among many of the cards is really, really very clever. Yeah. So that's the Fullarcos Tarot by Carmen Sorrenti. I think we're on video number 17 or something. Something like that. Still haven't decided what I'm going to do for the next deep dive. There's so many decks I want to do deep dives into. I'm going to be very old and very gray with a very crackly voice, still sharing my opinions on decks, I think. Long way down the road. Okay, so I want to say something about, so this tag, irreplaceable decks. What does this mean to me? It means that there is no other deck that I have worked with that takes me to the same place. And I have quite a few Fae decks, but this one to me, I don't quite know what it is. And from the moment I haven't had this version open for a while. From the moment I saw this deck, I felt like I was transported into another world. And I really do like a lot of different fairy decks. I feel at home. I feel like I belong. But there's something about this deck that is so different than any other. The artwork of Stephanie Pui Moon Law it's just incredible. It really is incredible. This is the Czech version of the deck, which has slightly larger cards. And perhaps also the way that this deck wanders in and out of the water and in and out of the sky and in and out of the forest. When I first had it, I really didn't have a clue how I was going to read it, but it's become, yeah, it really does stand on its own. And I've actually sold quite a few of my fairy decks, or passed them on, gifted them to other people. I think the only other one that I really work with now and then is Tarot of the Hidden Realm. And when I see a card like this one, there's dragons in this deck, right? So I purchased the one from the UK, the dragon deck, the one that was by, you know, on the very nice paper. It's Smoke, Ash, and Embers, because I have a thing for dragons, and I had never purchased a dragon. I didn't have a dragon deck, and I knew that everybody was raving about the quality of Oak, Ash, and Thorn, so I bought into the Smoke, Ash, and Embers. But it doesn't do it for me. I don't like it. The dragons are all too young. It doesn't have that sort of energy. And so in this particular deck, we get all kinds of mythological beasts and extraordinary places that we get transported into. Yeah. So, and I know everybody longs for an anniversary edition, a borderless, matte, large anniversary edition of this deck. This deck could be printed on extraordinarily large paper, and I think everybody would buy it who likes it. Yeah. So yeah, I don't think there's anything like this deck out there. So that is Shadowscapes Tarot, and the version that I'm showing you is the Czech version, which I know a lot of you have. That's the title in Czech. So interesting how decks have been published all around the world in different iterations. I love the space between worlds. I always have. And I've wandered in and out of that space for a long time, probably my whole life. I know I've shared about my kaleidoscope experiences as a little girl. And so there's something about in that space that feels very safe to me. I love, and I can be there for a moment, and I can linger a little longer. And sometimes I just need to look at artwork and it transports me. Now this deck is still available, but you can't get these cards anymore, unfortunately. This is the very large version. And I can't even think what this deck is called. Spirit, what is this deck called? It's another triple name deck. I'm sure one of you can put it into the chat. So when this deck, these are the backs. When this deck was first published, it came out in this huge format, and now it's available through Make Playing Cards as a tarot size deck. But these extra large cards, if you like this artwork, if you ever find them, don't hesitate to pick them up. And yeah, so this, yeah, I really like this deck. Moon. And maybe it's about the moon. It's not about the witches and the skinny little girls and all of that. It's about the energy that is emitted in the deck and in the scenery. Sorry, my camera's doing funny reflective things here. Yeah. So what is the name of this deck, please? Nobody put it into the chat. It's called... it's got a triple name, Spirit, Ghosts, and something. I will, later on, I'll come back and I'll link the decks down below. And I'll do my best to timestamp them. It has an innocence of childhood, and perhaps that's another reason why I like this deck. It takes me back to a simpler time. It reminds me to write more, to listen more, to wander more. And I love the palette of colors as well too. Sorry, I'm looking through, I'm trying to find some of my favorite cards for you. Yeah. Okay. So, and if you like the Shadowscapes Tarot, because I like Shadowscapes Tarot, it probably makes sense that I like this deck. All right, how are we doing? You saw yesterday, Wednesday, I did a walkthrough of the tarot of Japanese poetry. Thank you, Janine. So that deck I just showed you is Earthly Souls and Spirits. Yes. So yesterday, I did a walkthrough of this deck. And I am, there's the card, you can see the card better. I am very moved by this deck. And I went down a bit of a rabbit hole researching some of the poetry and looking at the poetry in Japanese, and then the multitude of translations of various poems. And so there is there's a haiku for some of the poems, but some of the poems are a little bit longer, different forms of Japanese poetry for each of these cards. And I used this deck in live readings on Tuesday as well, and I was just kind of mesmerized by the artwork. And so this deck takes us into a world, a very old Japan world, connects us through the beauty of poetry in translation. If anybody ever makes, another deck like this, I think it would be really good if the poetry in the language of origin was somehow available either on a PDF or linked on the website. It's a lot of work to find each of the poems for the books, each of the poems for each of the cards. And I picked one poet. There's about 40 plus poets that are included in this deck. And so I picked one and went through a whole bunch of his poetry and was working with some of it. And yeah, so this is just, this was one of the poems that I explored about the peony. So yeah, this is a very, very special deck. It is a high quality production. It is still available. But there's a few decks that I have that have poems for each of the cards. This one is quite unique in that way. And the creators of this deck have this lovely, at the back of the deck, there's this invitation to kind of get lost in the painting first. Understanding that the painting is going to draw you in through the senses of the eyes, and then there's the transmission of the poetry, as well as your experience with the tarot itself and the associations that you may bring in. So I really like the way that this was offered at the end of the book. The artist for this deck is Vika Yaki Menko, who is not credited on the box. Yeah, so that's the Tarot of Japanese Poetry by Irina Iliina and team at Deluxe Cards. Okay. I'm not sure. Oh, I know. We'll go here. And I know if I play music, this video will get but I'm going to play it anyway. I don't care. I'm going to play it anyway. Just for a few seconds. Okay, where's my music? I'll turn it down so you can hear me. I have, just let me know if you can hear me if I've got the music too loud. Okay. I have returned to this deck. This is the Weaver's Oracle. I have returned to this deck and am doing a very slow deep dive with this in the Facebook group. One card at a time, but also diving into working with the layers of the deck, deepening our understanding of the directions. Each of the weavers is connected to a direction. And then each of the weavers is also connected to a clan. Sorry, a clan. So my when you slow down and work with a deck, you get a different experience and a different level of connection. And honestly, when I was first working with this deck, when I first received it, of course I was in awe of the artwork, but I was a little overwhelmed at what was in the guidebook. And it's taken, so this return to the Weaver's Oracle has really allowed the words on the page to come to life. And so each week I'm speaking on, and this particular weaver I know, I have met. There's a few of the weavers here that I have deeply connected with. This is another weaver that I've met on my journeys, I'm quite certain. And so this is an incredible offering. What Carolyn Hillier has shared in this project, this lifelong project of hers, where she created drums and clothing and bowls and weavings, and let alone the paintings that were created for this deck. So happy that I've decided to approach the deck in this way. This really is a deck about connecting, finding connection, deep ancestral connection, but the journeys, and the journeys of each of these weavers have potent messages to share, to tell. And they are from places all over the world. Yeah, so, and the guidebook is just extraordinary. The Weaver's Oracle. And I see there is a question about the tarot of Japanese poetry. Dee says, the tarot of Japanese poetry, is this tarot or oracle? Where would it fit in? I would say oracle. Yeah, oracle. There are a few cards where I have seen familiar tarot messages, but not too many. Okay. I have been moved by a number of decks, felt powerful connections to a number of decks, and I spent a lot of time doing different chakra sadhanas, doing different work with my yogic studies, studied with many different teachers, become certified in a variety of practices and disciplines connected to yoga. And always curious when a deck, whether it's oracle or chakra, comes out and it has the word yoga in the title or chakra in the title. And I have never found one that I like, that speaks to me in a way like the creator has spent enough time or dived deep into their self and really know what it is that they are presenting. Good question, Donna. I'll answer that after I share the deck that I am about to share. There is, however, one oracle deck that is truly an incredible chakra deck that is not called a chakra deck. And oddly, it does have chakra cards in the deck, but I've taken the chakra cards out because they are completely redundant. They don't need to be here. So this is a chakra deck without being advertised as a chakra deck. And this is the initial soul cards deck. There is so much in these cards to work with. And whether you work with the colors or the energy that is being emitted from the trees, or some sort of combination of the keyword, the color, the energy of the trees, your experience with energy medicine, and you don't even have to know anything about energy medicine to work with this deck. I don't think this is a really special deck, and I do have another one of her decks, her being Allison, right? Allison Williams Yee. And this is the one that I will always go back to. This is the original Soul Trees deck. It seems so simple, but there is so much to share, so much to look at, so much to feel and interpret in every single one of these cards. They are very complex pieces of art. And I think the more that you work with energy, the more you know about energy healing and energy medicine, the more these cards mean. So beautiful. This is the original, and I did look at some of her other decks, and I purchased the Ascension deck. And this is the Ascension deck, and it has a few cards that this one looks a little bit like Earthly Souls and Spirits. This one goes in a little bit different direction. There's a few cards. This is gorgeous. And I feel like this deck encompasses earthly souls and spirits and soul trees. It's got a little bit of Shadowscapes in it. It's you know what I mean? Like it's got a lot going on here. So these are very special decks for me. What is the keyword here? This could be like a, this one's overthinking, but I was thinking of like a hermit card sitting on the edge of a cliff. Yeah. Okay. I want to get to your question, Miss Donna. Wherever it is for me. 3 up from the bottom. There you go. Do you still have and or use cosmic? Oh yes, these lovely cards by yes. They aren't out right now. I had these cards in my Reiki room and would pull them out for clients. I put them away one day when I was cleaning up and haven't had them out. These are really great decks, and yes, they carry beautiful transmissions. I think they have a lot of teachings in them. So yes, I still have them. I haven't had them out in my healing space for a while. Okay. So I don't want to mix these up. Put them away. She agreed to what is her name? There's also a new deck out by her, and I did have a look at it, and I know she agreed to be on my channel. We were going to have a chat, never got around to organizing it. So perhaps I will look at her new deck and invite her onto my channel, because she's somebody that I would love to talk to. Yeah. Okay. And there's only one more thing I have to say. One more thing. Yes, Nari yes. Nari Anastasia. That is who I mean. Okay. The last set of decks that I'm going to share with you today, and I guess we'll just go to the table, is the collection of decks by Kelly Burton. And you know, what I'm sharing here deeply resonates with me, may not with everybody else. But I had a very powerful, and I've shared this before, so sorry to repeat my story, is reading past life, ascension, reading, gifted reader. The whole bee thing kept coming through, and often medicine of bees has been something that's been mentioned to me by readers. And when the original deck, so this is the first deck, this Journey of the Sacred Bee, when I saw that on Kickstarter, I knew that I would be purchasing this deck. And I was not disappointed. The journey began to grow, and next I backed the Kickstarter for the Oracle deck. And then did an interview with the creator Kelly Burton, And at that time, the keeper of the sacred bee was in production. And I really had no idea. I wasn't going, I didn't back it. I just couldn't back it. It was like, it doesn't make sense to have another deck that almost looks the same. And why would I need it? It's just a Waite-Smith clone. And then I kept looking at it, and I purchased it reluctantly. However, it has now become a very important deck, reading deck for me. And every time I read with it, I see something new in the artwork. And I can't say which of these decks I like more, but I think this is an incredible offering by Kelly Burton. And the more that I work with these decks, the more that I see. Yeah, the more that I see, and there's this layer of sacred geometry. There is so much intention regarding reciprocity, responsibility as a human race to all beings, to Mother Nature herself. And yeah, when I looked at when I was going through my tarot library, and I was thinking about, what am I going to share with you today? And there was a few different sets of decks that I had considered sharing. And were they truly irreplaceable, or are they just a collection of decks? And there's a few. Like, I was thinking perhaps maybe Rebecca Lefebvre's decks, or even Kim Kranz's collection of decks. It's quite extraordinary. But this particular collection is, I want to say it stands alone. It's different. There's a lot of layers, and I believe I haven't uncovered everything in these decks, obviously. And Kelly herself says that there's a lot that's hidden within each card, and it may take lots of time to reveal itself. And I am a sucker for sacred geometry, so any deck that's covered in that has bees or sacred geometry is going to be up there on my list. Yeah. So that's a wrap. That's a wrap for today. And if you are interested in part one is linked below. My tarot library, my tarot and oracle library, they're separate. They're not all mixed together. They're in different parts of the house, I say so embarrassingly, because there's so many decks. I do my best to work with them, and if I feel there's no reason to keep a deck, I don't keep it. But I do have a lot. And I think the practice of deep dives is really kind of changed everything for me. It really does take time to get to know a deck. Yeah, it really does. Audrey has said something here. The decks have just been re-released with different names and cardstock, as far as I know. So you're talking about Nari Anastasia's decks, Audrey? Is that who you're talking about? Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome, Donna. Yeah. So thanks, all of you, for being here. And just a reminder, I'm going to put a banner up. I meant to put it up earlier. The tarot series that I am doing, Tarot Through the Planets, is also been a lot of fun. Oh yeah, Cosmic Visions and the Blue Messiah. It's been a lot of fun doing the prep for this, and I can't say enough about this layer of adding this layer to your understanding and your reading of tarot. So if you're interested in walking this journey, I have journeyed through the moon cards, Venus, and Mercury. So those 3 classes are pre-recorded, and you can purchase them individually, or you can purchase the whole package. And so I will be doing 7 in this 7 parts in this series, and the next one is the first Saturday in June. Okay. All right. Yeah, I don't think it's Cosmic Visions, but I know exactly the deck that you mean. Okay. All right. Well, thank you all very much, and have a lovely rest of your weekend. Namaste.